USA Radio News with Wendy King.
The Supreme Court has given the go-ahead for work to begin on several sections of a southern border wall. A 5-4 vote by the conservative majority High Court gave the president a win by letting his administration redirect $2.5 billion in money approved by Congress to help build his promised wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. The U.S. and Guatemala have come to terms on a so-called third country agreement restricting asylum applications filed by Central Americans. President Trump applauding to what amounts to a concession. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan says,
if you have a Honduran family or an El Salvadoran national, instead of having them pay a smuggler, come all the way to our border to seek asylum, when they arrive in Guatemala, they're in a country that has a fair proceeding for assessing asylum claims.
This is USA Radio News. On Monday, President Trump will be surrounded by 9/11 responders and their families as he signs into law the extension of the September 11 Victims' Compensation Fund. The Department of Justice is removing any roadblocks for the T-Mobile-Sprint merger. The two companies can combine now. The Justice Department signed off on the deal after Sprint agreed to sell off some of the assets, including the prepaid cell phone companies Boost and Virgin Mobile. They're being sold to the Dish Network, which will create a new cell phone service company. The combined T-Mobile and Sprint will have 92 million subscribers, only 2 million fewer than AT&T. Rescuers have reached the Girl Scouts who were struck by lightning in the Boundary Waters, all of whom are reported to be awake and alert and able to move. Authorities in northern Minnesota say 2 of them had suffered potentially serious injuries. You're listening to USA Radio News. Thousands of Jewish clergy signed a letter to Congress calling for lawmakers to protect the fundamental right to seek asylum in the United States. The letter addresses the hardships that asylum seekers, mostly from Central America, face, including family separation, long periods of detention in jail-like facilities, and denial of due process in their legal proceedings. It also draws parallels to Jewish history. The letter said refugees shouldn't be treated as criminals. It also takes issue with the Trump administration's immigration policies, including his efforts to restrict a migrant's ability to apply for asylum in the United States. Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Gerald Nadler, has some pretty nice things to say about former special counsel Robert Mueller. Here's more from USA Radio Network's Rick Vincent.
House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler held a news conference Friday, and he started by praising former special counsel Robert Mueller.
Robert Mueller is a man of honor and integrity. He has led a life defined by service to his country. Some have argued that because Director Mueller was reluctant to testify and seemed older than some remembered him, his work is somehow diminished. It is not.
The number of Democrats now supporting an impeachment inquiry against the president has grown to nearly 100.
For USA Radio News, I'm Wendy King.